Oh, I guess I didn't have 7 minutes, but it says half an hour. Now I've deleted a few videos that I don't need of me videoing the old room where I used to live as evidence against my deposit, but I got the deposit back anyway, and it's all old news now. Anyway, so where was I? So let's re-examine these symbols. This goddess in the land, centered around the stones, emanating out into the woods, one with the land. In the same way that a mother births you into life, I feel that perhaps it's just an instinct that she was like a kind of death mother of the local people, an egregore. Perhaps might have been a real person at one time, I don't know, maybe not. But the archetypal supreme goddess, in essence, the darkness, the womb, emanating down, perhaps taking many, you know, they say all goddesses are one goddess, everything is one, etc. It's very true, but at the same time things are most definitely separate, so I wouldn't want to get too carried away with that. But there's definitely something of the supreme dark goddess of the womb, of death, right? Then this aspect, the young girl in bright white light, a sense of tragedy and misery and loneliness. It's like, funnily enough, the area is still, there's a what do you call it? There's a crematory still in the area, so the area still has that vibe. And obviously all the legends of this, you know, ghost, not a ghost. What it takes is, you know, for the first time, you know, a practicing occultist has come into contact with this mystery. And I'm not saying there hasn't been wonderful work done before, there has. But you see, this is the direction I feel we need to go in, and it's bringing results. So, in the same way that a mother births you into life and she has sentenced you to death, in a way, in the local area, in terms of a funerary complex and the tomb chambers there, you know, all that's left is the dolmen, the entranceway, perhaps, you know, very likely. She is the mother that births you into death. This symbol of the magpie, which is the most common one that she uses, it incorporates both aspects, the blackness of death and the whiteness of eternity, life and death, black and white. So it's like the crow is used as a symbol when we're talking, or she's communicating specifically death, and in terms of life we have this white owl. Now obviously I'm filling in the gaps and making this kind of poetic. It's just my experience. This is how, you know, this is how I'm seeing things. It's either black and white, black or white. I've seen her as a white, shining bright young woman. I've also seen her as a woman in a black hood just once, so I'm not 100% sure about that one. And there has also been a dark black hooded figure that is male, that is perhaps related, but it's not her, so I wouldn't want to drag that one in. And you see, I think, you know, when you're working in the area, when you first walk in, you're going to get a lot of opposition on the on the spiritual level. And once you've been making offerings for a little while, they learn to trust you. You become part of the landscape. They begin to accept you, and then past acceptance is friendship. This is the way it is with the other things going on there, but obviously with her it was immediately it was wholesome, and in terms of being drawn in anyway through a mutual resonance. So there, yeah, it's like we're getting a little bit further with this mystery now. These different forms, these different symbols, and the idea of a goddess which births the local people into their deaths, equatable with the Morrigan, and shy and very loving, also terrible and terrifyingly, just I would not want to get on the wrong side. I mean, it's funny, I said, I did say to my teacher a while back in a voice message, I have no fear of the darker aspects of the spirit world, because if she's on my side, she's pretty fucking scary. So I'm not worried about that kind of thing. But you see, someone also expressed the opinion, well, what's the payoff? In other words, if you're gaining through this, well, what do you lose? I think you could say that about any relationship, so I won't concern myself with that. Although I have to say that the person making that suggestion was only doing that out of care, and is so far, apart from Mr. Connor, the only person to have joined me in paying respects and making an offering, and that is very, very, very special and very, very much appreciated. I'm reeling still, like I've only just got my sleeping pattern back, but this is what it takes if you want. There's no, this notion of the armchair magician, that's one thing. It's nice, but in terms of what it takes to achieve results, you have to push yourself, and it's gritty and it's dirty and it leaves you feeling exhausted sometimes. And it's wonderful to sit there reading about this and that, but when you actually get out in the field, as it were, it can be cold, it can be boring for periods, and it's like that mental exertion and exhaustion is part of the price. That it's like the currency that you need to feed in to the mechanism in order to to receive a result. And yet at the same time, I stand at least partially outside of all this, and as I talk, I'm in the same way that I described that aspect of the mind that is always questioning. This is always going on, but it can only go so far, because I know what I've experienced, and something will come of this. Thanks very much for listening once again, and be good.